Hey everyone, Elliot here from Lunark Studios bringing you another Prismata developer update. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about our strategy for our Steam Early Access launch, which is coming up later this year. A question we often get is like, how come you're not on Steam Early Access already? I mean, we did go through Steam Greenlight, which, effectively whenever we're ready, we can put Prismata on Steam Early Access. But why haven't we done it yet? And the answer is kind of complicated, but it basically boils down to the Steam discovery system and us wanting to optimize Prismata for positioning within the Steam discovery system upon our early access launch. So let me explain a little bit about the strategy and how all that works. Steam has gone through a number of updates with how it presents games to users. It's got this featured and recommended section in the store, it's got special offers, trending among friends, it's got this thing called Discovery Queue that shows you new games, as well as these topics like popular new releases. And we want Prismata to be featured heavily in all of these different areas. And in order to do that, we have to achieve certain levels of notoriety within the Steam ecosystem itself. So what are the criteria? Well, basically, we need to have a very positive review or rating. So we want to get mostly positive feedback on the game, as close to 100% as possible. The game needs to be generating a lot of interest within the Steam ecosystem, like people looking at the store, people purchasing the game or making purchases within the game, people playing with their friends, people talking about the game on Steam. All that stuff contributes to how well Prismata is featured within the stores and the Steam ecosystem itself, and that's what's going to really help us snowball us to big growth during our early access period. So it's really important that Prismata itself is super polished so that people have a good user experience when they first start playing the game, so that they'll give it good ratings and they'll recommend it to their friends. So that's kind of what we are aiming for at the moment, and that's why we haven't launched on Steam Early Access yet. So what's necessary to get us there? Well, there's a couple of things. One is all of the kind of questionable new user experience problems, they got to be gone, right? The new user experience has to be really polished. People need to get into Prismata for the first time. They need to sort of know what they're doing, feel comfortable, and not run into any crashes or bugs. The campaign, we really want to have a solid campaign experience for new players so that they get a foothold into the game and how it works, and also just kind of, enjoy the storyline and the setting and the lore. All of that contributes to how well people will like the game, whether they'll recommend it, and whether they'll give it a positive rating on Steam. Now, we don't have to have all of the content complete. We're not going to have 5 chapters of campaign ready for the Steam Early Access launch. We are aiming for 2 chapters. Each chapter is about 7 or 8 missions. And so that's kind of what we're doing right now. Polish and bug fix and get the campaign. I actually have a list to show you of sort of all the projects that we're looking to complete before our Steam Early Access launch. Now, this isn't our whole to-do list. This is just the stuff for Steam Early Access. A lot of it is campaign related, and then there's stuff relating to sort of the new user experience and the tutorials. Things like the cutscenes within the campaign itself. This stuff is mostly done, but there's a few little to-dos here and there. Within the game screen in certain campaign missions, you got tips that kind of teach the player how to do things. We're still adding more of those and editing how they look. The menu screen for the campaign is a completely new menu screen. It's basically done. It's really cool. It's got this kind of planet image and some cool stuff on there. The missions themselves, we have missions in place for the first 2 chapters. We are still making tons and tons of changes, editing them, not just for balance reasons, but also to get the pedagogical experience of learning Prismata through playing those missions to be as good as possible. We still have to get some art for mission-specific units. There's quite a few of those, tutorials within the missions, and we're going to be doing a bit of refactoring of the combat training once those 2 chapters go live, because a lot of the content in the early missions will overlap with the early combat training. So there's going to be a bit of new combat training content, and some stuff's going to get rearranged. We're also going to fix a lot of the sort of like really old combat training missions that are not that great. The chill missions in particular, Isochronous mission, a couple of them are either too difficult or are just not that great of an experience. So there will be changes to combat training as well. New user experience. just a whole lot of tips and different things unlocking at different levels, so that the user is given sort of a nice guided tour of what Prismata has to offer as they level up when they're starting the game. Things like better loading screens, actually having different backgrounds when you play each game, that's all going to get done before we go in Steam Early Access. The only reason it isn't is because of some issues relating to assets. In particular, in the browser version of Prismata, things sometimes don't load in time, and that can cause problems. The way files update in the non-browser version is getting a little bit of a revamp, just so that we can deploy new assets with our updates without problems with Prismata like not recognizing them. Just a few little under the hood things that will make everything smooth once we go to Steam. Sound is a big project. We've been doing a lot of work internally on sound programming. For example, at the start of your turn, during your defense phase, when everything explodes and then the swoosh happens and all the start of turn abilities happen at the same time, we've been really trying to programmatically enhance that, so it's not just a giant cacophony of craziness that all happens at once. We really want it to feel clean and focused, so that the sound is useful in the game rather than just a whole bunch of noises. Prismata is a game where there could be so many actions happening on the battlefield at the same time that we really need to streamline the sound experience so that it's good. And we're putting in a lot of effort. Our sound designer is doing a great job. There's hundreds of sound effects in the game. We've got about 5 milestones. 3 of them are in. The 4th one will get done before Steam Early Access. The 5th one is just more units, and that's going to get done after Steam Early Access. Some little things like adding more mod controls. We actually have mod controls within the game, but we're still kind of tweaking that stuff. The events within Prismata, still tweaking. A lot of the error handling, like we really don't want users to run into a bug and then like not know what happened and give us a negative review. So just little psychological things that change the way users view errors or help them understand what might be wrong, or even just lead them to a help page or an FAQ or how to email support. Just like anything that can prevent them from giving us a negative review. We're going to be really trying to polish that whole flow. Casual match is mostly done. I don't think we're going to be making too many more changes. Few little tweaks with the store, but that's mostly done. Server-side performance tuning. We're pretty confident we're in a good spot that our servers aren't going to go down upon launch unless we get like massively swarmed by new players. Fingers crossed. But we're still always doing a bit more testing. And, we have a long list of server enhancements, but all the low-hanging fruit has sort of been taken care of. And then all this marketing stuff. The biggest thing is probably a new trailer, which is mostly just an improved version of the existing trailer with more of the kind of flashier special effects in-game to make it look a bit sharper. But that's basically it. That's the list of stuff for Steam Early Access. We have another list down here of like other smaller things that we may or may not get done beforehand. We'll probably try and knock as many of these off as we feasibly can, but we're also not going to let them delay our early access launch if they're not really going to help us that much. And then, the stuff that's not going in before the Steam Early Access, later chapters of the game, Puzzle Pack, raids are going to be a long time off. But that's kind of where things are. It's mostly just finishing campaign, finishing sound, and then a lot of little tweaks and polish. On top of that, there's also bug fixing. I can show you we have a bug database that has all the bugs, and then here we have sort of the ones that we're working on right now, or the ones that we intend to fix. There's a lot of old bugs that are like, specific to a certain browser or configuration, and they're considered a lot lower priority. But there are a few things that we're really trying hard to fix. Last week we fixed a really serious bug with the AI on Macs that was causing them not to update correctly. Like you'd update your Prismata and literally not be able to play the AI anymore. Those types of things we absolutely have to get rid of before we launch on Steam, because anything that's going to cause people to have that kind of bad experience is going to result in bad ratings. So, there's an issue right now where the bots sometimes just sit there churning forever, not making a move, and it's been really hard to track down and really frustrating, but we absolutely got to get that kind of thing fixed before we go on Steam. We also know about some memory issues in Windows that are causing crashes, and that's like, that's a must fix. So, and we actually do have a fix for that bug. It's coming very soon. And a few other little things that we're trying to deal with. But honestly, the thing I should show you is this. At the bottom here, these are all the bugs that we fixed already just in the last like 2.5 months. And there are pages of them. Now, a lot of these things are literally like some text was a little bit off, and you know, it takes 5 minutes to fix. But yeah, we've been trying to fix a lot of bugs and really try and polish up the experience as much as possible for people playing Prismata, so that they don't run into problems and don't have any excuse to not recommend us or give us a bad rating or anything like that. So that's kind of a, you know, project management overview of the state of things and how close we are to actually getting on Steam. Now, are we too late? Are we taking too long? Are we just right? I kind of try to compare us to a bunch of other games. Usually 2 to 3 years after a crowdfunding campaign is when a lot of indie games make their way onto Steam. We did our crowdfunding on Kickstarter in December 2014, so we're just over 2 years now. A good example is the game Factorio. Factorio did crowdfunding January 2013, I think, and then went on Steam just over 3 years later in early 2016. And they had really polished up the game by the time they went on Steam, and they had a phenomenal rating, like 98-99% positive on Steam, and it really catapulted them to success in the platform. So that's the type of thing we want to replicate. We really want to have that super high positive rating on Steam so that our game will be featured as much as possible in the platform. And that's kind of why we're being really nitty about fixing things and polishing up the experience. And you know, when we have this long list of things that like we really got to get fixed before we go on Steam, and that's why we're not on Steam already. So that's kind of our strategy. When we do go on Steam, that's going to be the same time that we launch 2 chapters of campaign. It's going to be the same time that we really crank up the hype. I'm going to call in every favor that I possibly can. We're going to spam the whole mailing list, all that stuff. So you can look forward to a lot more action on the servers, just a lot more visibility of Prismata in general, and hopefully a lot of action on Steam. At least, you know, that's what we're hoping for. That's all I got for today. I will catch you guys in the next update. There is a tournament this weekend happening on Sunday. If you don't know about it, check out the blog. It is there. It is a 3-hour brawl with time handicaps, so that should be interesting. Until next time, I'll see you later, and there will be a preview of some of our sound stuff that we're working on coming on this YouTube channel, hopefully not too long, basically as soon as we fix a few things. But yeah, that's coming soon, and it's awesome, so stay tuned for that. I will catch you next time. See ya.